So, the Megaspore or the MegaPre is only feeding beneficial bacteria, but there can be a little like bloating when you first start taking it. I always tell people to take everything slow. And I'll back up. If you start the Megaspore Biotic, and that's a very slow process for you to get to the full dose, then maybe you will need longer than a month, like Karan mentioned, to add the MegaPre. If you're really wiped out, you may need longer. So you have to just kind of observe your body. Even if I forget, I don't know, if I don't have MegaPre and miss it for a while, I'll start to be a little bloated from taking it too, just at first. So I wondered if you could speak to that and the best way to add it.
Yeah, a lot of that is around the utilization of the prebiotic. When you first starting to take it, you probably have slightly more dysbiotic bacteria than beneficial bacteria, and some dysbiotic bacteria can utilize the prebiotic and create gas as a byproduct. It doesn't happen so much with oligosaccharides as it does with fibers, with conventional fibers, but it can happen, right? And so it takes a little bit of training, and it's almost like in the world of microbiology, we call directed evolution, where you create a stimuli in an environment, and that stimuli directs the evolution of microbes into a certain way. Having consistent, adequate prebiotic, oligosaccharide prebiotics directs the microbes towards proper metabolization of that prebiotic into the compounds that we want, like short chain fatty acids, right? So initially there may be some struggle and battle there between different microbes, but no doubt eventually within a couple weeks at best, the beneficial microbes win out that battle, right? Because they're really the ones that are designed to be able to utilize this well by nature.
Yeah. Okay, I'm going to touch on, we had a couple questions come through about dairy, and I think what he's saying here with the MegaPre is not a dairy protein to cause an allergy. I suppose if you're vegan, there's two MegaPres, right? There's a dairy-free and a MegaPre regular. So I guess the dairy-free is vegan, but really the main MegaPre doesn't have dairy protein in it per se, right?
That's right. Yeah. If someone's concerned about allergies or sensitivities to dairy, it's all to the protein part of it. And that's the same with anything. Any sensitivities or allergy type of responses come from the protein component of foods. So this galacto-oligosaccharide doesn't have any dairy protein in it at all. All the caseinates and all that stuff has been removed and separated. And in fact, the oligosaccharides are easily separated from the fats and from the proteins and from the sugars that are in milk as well. Now, we did come out with the dairy-free version, and it's not because I condone the concept of a dairy-free version. I think you're probably better off getting the galacto-oligosaccharides in your system as well, even if you are concerned about dairy, because it's not anything of the negative components of dairy. But for people that are really vigilant about that and just very concerned, I'd rather them take a 3 oligosaccharide product than a no oligosaccharide product, right? So if we had to, we chose to make a version where we remove the galacto oligosaccharide, which is the one that comes from dairy, and just have the 3 fruit-based ones.
Okay, yeah, and in our shop, we only carry the regular MegaPre, and I haven't had anyone have a problem. Again, all these products can be an adjustment, and Bonnie's asking about the Megaspore. Is it dairy-free? Which it is.
Yeah.
We'll get a little bit more into some animal ingredients in a minute here with the next couple of products. But yeah, I mean, the Megaspore Biotic, we get people with big reactions, so these are strong products. But if you're reacting, I would say it's more to the dysbiosis that's already in your system than any ingredient in these products. And there's can be, internet rumors and this and that. Again, I've been using these products probably 8 years now. They're very clean, but they're strong. So it's more just like, cut down the dose, increase slowly, drink lots of water, like Karan said. Because ultimately, like, these are ingredients your body wants. Like he's explaining with the breast milk, like we're designed to take these things. So I think in almost every case you will adjust.
Yeah. I mean, we're designed to consume spores, right? That is supposed to happen in the natural world, but we've divorced ourselves from that part of nature, so we're not getting the exposure we're supposed to. But we're supposed to. We're absolutely supposed to be gaining these exposure to these microbes from the environment. So it's critically important, and not to sound like we're bragging about this, but there's a reason why Megaspore is the #1 selling healthcare practitioner probiotic by leaps and bounds, right? It's not because we have fancy marketing or any of that. We actually didn't even have a marketing department till the end of 2018. More than 5
You were the marketing department.
I was, right? I don't know anything about marketing. All we were was science, and letting science drive the bus. And my role was telling that story, and so, and then because that story resonated, because it makes sense, both scientifically, but then also intuitively for a lot of clinicians, because they felt like my business partner, Tom, what was most interesting about him when we first started working together, and the reason why I gravitated towards him, is he had a really thriving functional medicine practice in the northern suburbs of Chicago. 85-90% of his practice was centered around gut health, right? That was the training that he got. He worked in Europe as a practitioner for years as well, but he didn't use a single probiotic in his practice. Right. That was what was crazy to me when I first met him. I was like, oh, you're a gut health practitioner. Okay. What are your favorite probiotics? You must use all of these. He said, I haven't used a probiotic in 6 years at that point, because there were a lot of failures, and a lot of it didn't make sense. And this whole refrigeration and this, that, and the other, and 100 billion CFUs and that whole thing. And then in his clinical practice, he just saw that things really weren't doing what he had hoped probiotics would do, and then he's like rotating between all these different products, and it just became so complicated. He started just focusing on prebiotics, ferments, enzymes, stress management, all these kinds of things, because he had lost faith in probiotics. And so when we came along and we had an answer to why those products weren't working, and an answer to why he saw all the things that he saw in the clinical world, that's when a practitioner starts to resonate with your product, right? And so, we didn't need a marketing department because we had science on our side, right? We don't need to be clever. We don't need to be fancy in how we say things. We don't need smart taglines and beautiful colors and all that stuff. We have science, and that's all we led with. And we launched in 2013. By 2018, it became the #1 selling practitioner probiotic. The second best selling one was less than 50% the volume. And that's purely because 87% of the new practitioners that we get on board, opening an account to start buying Megaspore, 87% of them said they signed up for an account because they heard about it from a colleague. Right.
I was one of them. Yep. Yeah, and I was shocked. I was like, what? These probiotics are all like dead on arrival. Like, the longer I'm in this field, and I'm sure you see the same, like there's just sort of these like fads and like stuff go on. And that was the one at the time, right? There was a lot of probiotics on the market. And I used to be criticized for only carrying one probiotic, like even 4 or 5 years ago. And now nobody gives me that anymore, especially with your suite of products. Like you said, it's not just like probiotics, like cure everything, which I think was the fad going on 10, 15 years ago. You need to heal like in all these ways with the fiber and the immunoglobulins that will cover. So yeah, we're both on the same, getting excited for the same cause here.